Hello everybody, welcome back, and it's time for another map tactic. This time we're going to be taking on mines and looking at the differences on the two spawns, which I think is major on this. But we're going to be having a look at where you can originally go in randoms for those of you that are not quite sure on this. So the first thing I want to point out is, although a lot of people seem to think this map is kind of mirrored, both sides, it's really not. This spawn has a major advantage over this spawn. This spawn is very gimped. It's easier to push this way, it's easier to gain the hill, you got more cover here. This side it is more difficult to play, but we'll get into it anyway. So we'll cover artillery first. There's a few places you can go from the northern base in artillery. One of the most common is to go up behind the rocks there, but there's also a bush that you can go in there, and sometimes you'll find them up on this where the TDs normally go, which we'll cover in a second. You can even find players in artillery down in this area, although it can be quite risky in a random going there. It's more of a strong oldie or clan war tactic there. If you are in a heavy, then the chances are that you're going to either be working this area or you're going to be working this area here, or further back maybe, depending on how far you push. Now you can also get some very good results if you go on the corner of this house here, and eventually progressing around the houses and coming this way, like so. What this effectively does is, if anything's coming this way, it means that you can get shots down into it, and as you start to work around on the different houses, you can get shots across into them. When you eventually win this corner here, then you can shoot down into anything that's camping in underneath this hill here, and that can be very good for you. For mediums and lights, I'm going to come to in a second. For TDs, you normally tend to find your tank destroyers hiding up either side of that rock. Good tip for you if you're in artillery or you're in something from the other side and you've got nothing else to shoot at and you can see this rock, just shoot either side of it, because if they've got tank destroyers, that's probably where they're going to be, and even if they don't, then there's likely to be something else there. Now, this is the major thing that I wanted to talk about with the mediums and the lights. This map is very important that you analyse the enemy team first. Although you have an advantage of getting to the hill, if you've got, say, 3 quick tanks that can race for the hill, and one of them, say, an AMX 1390, it's going to take another 10-15 seconds from when it gets there to when it can actually fire. You know, you can count that as then only really having 2 tanks. Now let's say they've got 6. If you rush there, you're going to die. But let's just say that all things even, you should be able to rush. And what I would normally do if you rush down this way is try and hide in behind this rock, particularly if they've got artillery, or you want to stay on the move, one or the other. But you don't want to come up and then turn this way, because if you go this way when you come round, anything that's coming this way is going to be able to shoot you. But once you're up and you're unspotted, there are bushes that you can use on this ridge here, slightly further back, all along the edge here. And what you want to try and do, if you can, is light up this area where the enemy artillery is likely to be, and also obviously lighting up anything else. But that can be a massive key to winning the game, is if you can spot the artillery. Another good place to go, particularly at the start of the game, is to race down to these bushes here. This will give you good vision on anything that's crossing here. You can get spots from these bushes down into what's crossing through the water, but this is a lot more aggressive and will get you a lot more spotting damage. If you're in a medium, then again it depends what kind of a medium you're in. You might want to support the hill, you might want to charge the island. Again, if there's, say, a platoon of 3 of you and you're in maybe object 140s or something, you might want to take your chance and just race down the one line and try and get this low ground down here. That can cause havoc for the other team. But if you're in a medium, you might want to play the island. You might want to get in what they call the pocket there, which is a little area that provides you some cover, not massive amounts, but it does provide some, and it gives you good shots onto anything that's trying to poke up here. You could of course play these rocks, or you could try and race around and win this side. And again, if you're in something quick and you race around and you win this side, as long as you've got a bit of support there, then you can create nice crossfires there. The thing to worry about really for this spawn is this whole side. If they come this way, your tank destroyers generally tend to wreck them. If they come through the middle, you know, they've got a choke point there that they've got to push through, and again your tank destroyers wreck them. If they come this way, then the enemy team can kind of get underneath here, and it's a lot easier for them to come up and try and deal with this. So from this spawn, particularly late game, I like to push this way. But we'll flip over now onto the other spawn. If you are in artillery, then there are good spaces down here. You could come behind this house, you could go in between these houses, you could try and play around this one, but it doesn't give you as much cover and you're more likely to get spotted. Or you could race over here if you're in something quick, but again, if they push the island, then you've got problems there. So generally this kind of area, pardon me, this kind of area down here is the better area to play if you're in artillery. If you are in a tank destroyer, then this rock is brilliant. You can also use this rock, you can also use these here. I personally really like either this area or this area if I'm in a TD. I would normally go here because it gives you shots on anything that's silly enough to poke there, it gives you shots on anything silly enough to get spotted there. But also if you notice that the island needs support, you haven't got far to go to just transfer to there, and you get good shots across into the island as well. And also from there, if you need to run away, you can do so fairly easily. This rock here gives you good covering shots on this, and also onto part of this, but you'd need to flex around onto this side in order to shoot anything there or here, and you don't get as good a shots over towards the island as you do from the other one. But that's also a very viable position. I'm not having a good day today, am I? Right, let's look at your heavy tanks then. Heavy tanks generally, again, try and play either here or here. But if you're in a fairly quick heavy, let's think maybe an IS-3 or 113, something like that, then again you could come around here and try and battle your way around the outside. Now the advantage to playing this area for heavy tanks in games where you've got artillery is it doesn't seem to get focused as much as this area does. Artillery always seems to focus on this massive area here. So if you're playing this corner, you know, as soon as you pop out here, you get smashed by artillery, and this side even more so. Remember I said that this whole side seems a lot more gimped. The artillery that's there has got a good line of fire all the way down in there. You know, your heavy tanks almost have to drop back this far to get into cover, whereas artillery from there struggle to hit you when you're there. So this side do get the advantage of being able to be a bit more aggressive in this area. But if there's, say, 2, maybe 3 big arties, I tend to avoid that area. If you're in a medium or a light, again, have a think about if you can play the middle. If you think you can, then you could do so, and by playing very cautiously with this light tank here, you can actually start to spot things in A4, which is massive for your team. Obviously, if they're spotted, you can deal with them without having to push in close across big open land and taking huge amounts of damage from them. Medium tanks, again, you can support from within the hill. If you do get the chance to get there early game in this spot just here, then what that means is if they start to push anyone up towards this rock, trust me to put it in the wrong colour, I am having a terrible day, aren't I? If they put anyone up against this rock here, then you've basically got side shots in them, and as soon as they start looking to shoot at you, you can just pull back behind this rock here, and then you're safe again. And of course, if they start trying to push up, then any tanks that you have here have got side shots on them as well. So that's a nice position to take if you can. And of course, you could also play the island. You got to be careful playing it from this side. A lot of people will go in there, but you can get spotted quite easily there. You can get shot from the island, you can get shot by the artillery. If they don't have a presence on the island, then if you push out a little bit further, you can get some cracking shots up on there into anything that's trying to push up onto the mine in the area, or you can shoot the other side of the rock, and you can actually get side shots into anything that's in this area, because normally they're facing this way. So if there's like heavy tanks or medium tanks there, you can get a lot of damage in, and you don't get spotted when you're firing on them by these. Also, you need someone spotting them, but you've almost always got someone there. If they're pushing people this way, then you might want to play on the bottom of this. It does give you shots, but in randoms you don't really seem to see that too much. And when you do start to push up onto the island, I would advise you stick to this left hand side as much as you can until you've cleared this, and then work through the bushes just to give you that little bit of cover. And then when you do finally make a break for it, you want to get yourself underneath this rock here. Remember, they're likely to have artillery there, maybe there, and tank destroyers there. So by getting into here, it just allows you to work anything that might have fallen back on this corner, by being relatively safe from these guys here. But we'll start off with you there. So we've done the RT, we've done the TDs, we've done the lights, mediums, heavies, that's it, yeah. Okay, so as I say, it is a favourite map of mine. It is one that I really like playing. If you've got any questions about it, feel free to put them in. As I said, that was your original start positions, which generally tend to work well for me. Have a play with them, see how you feel. If it works for you, think about giving this video a like and a subscribe. It's free and it really does help me out. Until next time, guys, I've been Fubzy. You take care, and next time we will look. I'm not going to do Mitten Guard because that's only very low tier. We'll look next time at Mountain Pass. Okay, take care and bye.